Hi, welcome to the 2020 Children and Young People's Literature Festival. My name is David Morrison. I work for Edelvives, Mexico, and I'm about to meet Marcos Almada. He's going to present us the book Oscar and the Murmur of the Hill, a book in English, which is why we're having this interview in English. Oscar and the Murmur of the Hill is the latest of the Oscar the Awesome Opossum books, and it tells a cautionary but optimistic tale about the protection of a very special place for Oscar the Opossum and for his grandfather. Let's see if Oscar and Marcos are online. Hi.
Hey.
Oh my God, is that Marcos or Oscar? Ah, Marcos is the guy with the glasses on.
This is Oscar and I'm Marcos.
Wow, I love his
David.
It's nice to see you. We met a long time ago. He's got bigger.
Yes, he's a bit older now.
Growing. He's got the same jumper on. I like that jumper.
but I watch him constantly, don't worry.
Where are you, Marcos?
Well, right now I'm living in Tepoztlan, Morelos, and it's a small town close to Mexico City, which is very pretty, and it has a lot of nature, and it's on a mountain, so it's a very nice place.
There's an old convent there, isn't there?
Yes, it has a 16th century ex-convent, so it's a historical place, but it also has a pyramid on top of the mountain, so its history it goes way back.
Okay, I think I might have been there once. Is that where the story of Oscar and the Murmur of the Hill takes place?
Well, not exactly, because when I wrote that book, I was currently living in Oaxaca, which is also a very special place.
Yeah.
So most of the references in the book, the plants, the trees, the animals, were elements I took from my walks in Oaxaca.
Right. Okay.
It's a very Oaxacan book, although it's never mentioned that it's in Oaxaca. It's actually the Oscar books are a compound, are a mixture of elements I've been taking from all over Mexico, because I like to travel around, been all over Mexico. So every time I go somewhere, I take my notebook, my sketchbook, and I take ideas. So Oscar is actually it's a mixture of all those things I've seen.
Okay. So Oscar is an opossum, which in Spanish, correct me if I'm wrong, is a tlacuache.
Yeah.
Or there's another word, isn't there? I think. Is there another word?
Tlacuache is the Aztec word. It's a Nahuatl word. So it's only used in Mexico, tlacuache. But opossums are found from Canada to Argentina. They're all around. So they have different names in each culture.
Oh, really?
The most common name in Spanish is zarigüeya.
Wow.
But for instance, in Colombia, they're called rabipelados, which translates as hairless tail. You know?
Yeah, okay.
Because as you can see, they have a hairless tail that helps them hang on branches and grab their young ones.
Okay.
So they're very special. They're quite special animals.
So this kind of tail is typical of marsupials, isn't it?
Well, what makes him a marsupial actually is his pouch he has, similar to kangaroos, because they're relative to kangaroos and koalas. Okay. And actually, opossums are the only marsupials left in America.
Really?
So they're quite special. Well, their hairless tails, it's an attribute, but it's also one of their problems, because people tend to mistake them with rats.
With rodents, as we say, no? Like, okay.
But they actually don't have a relationship with rodents. They are marsupials. And unfortunately, some people kill them, thinking they're pests when they're actually good for the environment because they eat pests like ticks and
So
other
you're kind of a strong defender of opossums, aren't you? And I know you have lots of variations on the Oscar you just showed me. I think you have like things made out of wood and things like that, don't you?
Yeah, well, I grew up in Cuernavaca, a place that has a lot of opossums, and I realized people didn't actually know anything about opossums because they're quite mysterious. They go at night, and that's why I was compelled to write something about them, and I created this character, and it has helped me to open this door with the kids to talk about them. It's quite funny how when I go to a school to talk about opossums, the first reaction that like teachers have is like, "Oh no, they're horrendous creatures. They're horrible," and kids are like, "Oh, I want to know more about opossums."
Yeah.
And after I tell them all these facts about how they are opossums, how they are marsupials, and how they are important to the environment, all the kids are like, "Oh, I love the tlacuaches," and the teachers don't have anything left to say.
I've never heard of them.
Okay, tlacuaches are okay. So it's fun. It's cool how kids tend to teach adults, to think out of the box and
that's so important. That's so important, Marcos, isn't it? In the whole, I mean, we'll get onto the story of Oscar in the book we're presenting in a second. But what you've just mentioned about kids getting adults to think outside the box is and will be fundamental in getting people to think about climate change and ecology, isn't it? Because I have a son who's 3.5, 4, and he's starting to ask me questions that I don't have answers to. And the questions are so basic, like, why does this happen? And I'm going, I don't know, mate. I know, it's like, because in the story, I've read the story of Oscar the Mimmer of the Hill. Essentially, and don't give us any spoilers here, essentially it is an ecological story, isn't it, Marcos?
Yeah, well, I try to tell an ecological story, but in a more small kind of way. Because most of the ecological themes, sometimes they are centered on saving the Amazon rainforest, or like going to wild places, or maybe in building solar panels, things that are of kids' control, no, out of their immediate reality. So I focus on more simple things like if I like to walk a lot, I don't even have to go like to the Amazon or to the rainforest. I just anywhere that's a little bit green, I enjoy. So it's very sad for me to walk around over a year and see how these small patches of green start to evaporate, to disappear, and there's this like this weird way of thinking of humans that when we see like weeds, when we see grasses growing wild, we tend to see them as a filthy or how you say, not well managed or not well taken care of. So there's a saying here in Mexico. In Mexico, a monte or a hill has two meanings. A hill, it's the mountain, but it's also some place that's a little bit wild. When you leave a farming field or a crop field, you live it a couple of years, it grows monte, it grows vegetation, it grows trees, and that's what people used to call monte. And there's the saying, I'm going to desmontar my land. I'm going to take away all the grasses, and they think, a lot of people think that's better, but actually it's worse, because all that hill, all that vegetation takes care of the land.
Tell us, I think there's two main characters in the story. There's Oscar the opossum, and his grandfather, if I remember rightly. Yeah.
So I had these two ideas about nature and the hill, and I also had this idea of the relationship with his grandfather. So I tried to merge these two ideas into a single book. So the grandfather, in a way, represents that wisdom of listening to nature. You know? Listening to the murmur of the hill is that wisdom of being there and appreciating the simple things. No, I remember when I was a student and back in the 20 years ago, there was this thing about talking about globalization. It was a big thing, and you never hear that word again. It's like we gave up. No. Like that's the word. That's the world we're living in, and we cannot do anything about it. And just
and what you've done with Oscar, with several of the books of the collection, which has been going with the collection has been running now for 10 years, which is congratulations on Oscar's 10th birthday, which was this year. What we must point out here is that we're talking about serious topics here, but these are fun books for kids between, let's say, 5 and 10 years old, maybe a little bit older in English, because they're probably not native English speakers when they read them. I think that was another issue we had when we were translating the books, is your reader might be a little bit older now. I've met some readers of yours who are like just passionate fans of Oscar. There was a guy, there's a little boy 2 years ago now, I think, in La Felice, which was in the not virtual, not like this year. And there was a little boy who had all your books. It was amazing. He was like in awe of you. It was like Marcos, the awesome writer. And it was so nice to see. But we must point out these books are fun. They do kind of create fans, not just fans of possums. They create fans of reading, which I think is another important issue in Mexico. And we're probably running out of time, Marcos. So I'm going to ask you 3 more questions, okay? Yeah. Unless you have something you want to say.
Yeah, just say that during these 10 years, I've met so many people thanks to Oscar, and yes, trying to make it fun was one of my priorities, because we don't want to how do you say it? Take away sermonize or take away hope from kids. Now we're talking about protecting nature and the loss of biodiversity. It's a very saddening. I was telling my wife yesterday that now I don't like watching documentaries, nature documentaries, because I end up depressed. Like what can I do? With Oscar, I'm trying to give back a little bit of hope, of fun, of the pleasure of enjoying nature, and when you enjoy it, you protect it. It's not through fear of losing; it's through enjoying it and loving it, and then I want to protect it. So Oscar is a kid. It's an opossum kid. He's very curious. He's very mischievous. That's what kids relate to, not to the themes around it. Those themes, the issues are like extras, but the hook is like fun, the fun of language, the fun of the illustrations, of being curious and mischievous, being a kid, and that's what it's all about. In the end, Oscar is a kid.
What is your hope for the future, Marcos?
My hope is that the children never lose their capacity of being curious and being creative. It's creativity is vital for human survival. It's what makes us solve problems. It is what gives us fun. So creativity for me, it's should be top priority for kids in schools and houses and parents, and we're losing it really fast. So for me, it's having kids who are creative and curious.
I like your answer. In fact, I would dare to say that without hope there could be no creativity, and without creativity there can be no hope. So exactly. I agree with you there. I was going to ask you about politicians. I think I might not. What book would you take with you if you knew you had to go to a desert island?
That's a tough one. I probably would take Tom Sawyer.
Really?
Tom Sawyer was my childhood's favorite.
Yeah,
I could read it over and over again. And actually, Tom goes to an island, so I would feel identified.
Anybody who's been listening to us and watching us, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure working with Marcos over these last 10 years. There are many Oscar books in Spanish and in English. We thought today we'd do it in English because it's an interesting proposition, I think, for young kids. And there they are. Look at these little guys. They're amazing.
These are alebrijes made from artisans.
And even if you don't want to buy the book, find out about tlacuaches, because they are as Mexican as mole.
As quesadillas.
Let's say goodbye for now, Marcos. Okay, take care of yourself.
Pleasure.
Bye bye,
everyone. Be curious. Bye.